Well, hello, everybody. I guess we're waiting for our hostess.
I'm
There
here. I'm
she
here.
is.
Hi, Pam.
Hi. I don't know
Hi,
why
Shaun.
my audio was acting weird, and I blame you and Ellen. Oh God.
Yeah, my fault.
Yeah, it's not. No, it's his fault. He's been really acting up today. He's so excited to be on here. We had a class this morning, so he was in fine form, and people were feeling goosebumps. That never happened before. Well, this is only the second live class we ever did. So the first one, nothing. The people didn't feel anything. This one, oh my God. And somebody said, oh, he's in the whole room. His energy filled the whole room, and we could feel it. It was incredible.
And for those that don't know, she's doing it. They're doing it at House of Intention here on Oahu in Honolulu.
Yes.
The
Right.
next, how many?
Oh,
Saturdays?
we just have one more on, let me see, July 29th. It's a Thursday night. So that's the last one. And today was small group. It's Sunday. Who wants to get up early and go somewhere and be there at 10 a.m. if they don't have to? I think that was the thing. And it was great though. It was great. We had a good time, and well, he always has a good time. he just want, I guess he came through with the goosebumps. But this morning he was doing things to me too, like making songs repeat. He's never done that before either. Like, we have a playlist, and he made 2 songs that he likes the most. He made them both repeat. And I was like, what's going on? And he goes, oh, I'm just doing new things, honey. Like, I'm just gonna show you new things. So he says, wait till you see what's coming. I don't know. So hey, everybody, thanks for joining us for this kind of impromptu, I don't know, pop-up event discussion. Ellen and I've gone live in our Facebook group for many months now, and I always love talking for him, with him coming through me, because I feel him viscerally. And I mean, I would just do this like every day if I could, because just for the feel of it, because I was trained as a channel, so it's really easy for me. But he wants me to say that this is beyond channeling, because we really merge. We really merge, and we were already twin souls, and we were already very in tune with each other. And we're, as it turns out, we were in training to do what we're doing now, except I didn't know it, and neither did he. So when he came through, he started saying that we were here to do this. And it wasn't about what happened before in the first 30 years of our marriage. It was what's happening now. And that just blew my mind, because you know, I'm not young. I mean, I'm going to be 69 this year. So it's like, so I have to wait till I'm 69 to find my life purpose. I guess that's how it was for me. So he just took over in my life like he did the first 30 years, and changing the whole direction of my life. So we're really excited to talk about this journey. It's still really new in a lot of ways. Let me just adjust it's only been 11 months now since Ellen passed, and he was making himself known to me from the very beginning. And maybe I should have suspected he might, because he was a psychic medium, but we had never talked about it, believe it or not, mainly because he didn't like to talk about death. And when he would, he'd get all emotional just thinking about the possibility that I might die before him. So he's quite happy that he got to go first. I know that. And even happier to discover that we weren't finished, that we had a soul contract to continue our relationship. And not only that, but to teach and work together and help people make the same connection. So he's here with me all the time, and says he'll never leave my side. And he says how can I put it? His participation, his presence in my life is only going to get stronger. And it does seem to be the case every day. It seems like we're inching along to something more, something new. And The one thing I will say is that I've never felt love like this in my whole life. Like I feel flooded with his love. He he was always a very unique person with a good sense of humor, very much, yeah, what larger than life, and as it turns out, larger than death. So he's here to help anyone who calls on him. That was one of the things that blew my mind. It's not unusual for people to have after death contact. I know it's very common, but in Alan's case, he was making contact with clients and friends and even strangers. And I just didn't know what that was about. I was so confused, and it took one of my good friends who could actually see him and talk to him, because she's a psychic medium. She's the one who told me why that was, like who Alan really was. And as it turned out, he came through to say that he's an archangel, and that in fact many people are archangels and angels, and that this wasn't unusual. But what was unusual was our connection with each other, because we were also twin souls, something that I didn't know, that we were twin souls. I really didn't understand that concept until Smita Garg, who's a member of our Facebook group, and she's probably on this call today, she helped me understand, because Smita is also a twin soul, and she pointed out things were happening to me with Alan, and then that made a lot of sense. So we have this strong, unique relationship, and it was by no means perfect when he was here in a body. He'd be the first one to say that he really blew it when he was in a body, and he took me for granted and was complacent and unappreciative. And when he came back, he said, I'm going to make all that up to you. And he has 1,000-fold, really. And our message really is to help people understand that, you know, life goes on. They're not only not dead, they're right here. He's like right here. If anybody's clairvoyant, a lot of my clairvoyant friends will say, oh, he's standing right here. Or one friend will say, oh my God, he just like kissed you on the cheek. Did you feel that? Or he gave you a hug or something. And I don't feel that, not when I'm teaching anyway, but I do feel him in other ways quite intensely. So I know that he's real, and he set it up so that other people would confirm to me that he was real. And there's so many, many incidents of that we're writing a book and working with a book coach right now and a publisher. We're self-publishing. I was guided to this publishing house, and really excited to be expanding our audience, to reach more people, because he just really wants to help people. So one thing he wants to say right off the bat, please call on him for help, even if you're not sure like how he could help you or if this is real. He has helped so many people who didn't even believe in him, and he says that's the only way you'll be able to prove to yourself, because it's not about taking my word for, you know, on face value. It's your direct experience, and he seems to be able to give people that direct experience. Can't promise you that, but he's really here to do his part, along with many other people, to prove that we're immortal and that we're more powerful than we realize. And okay, last thing he's saying is there's time for us to come alive, because most people walking around in the physical world are either half dead or dead emotionally. And I was one of those people, because Alan had dementia for 2 years and I had to shut down. So when he came back to me, first thing he did was open me up emotionally. And now I feel everything, and I feel more alive than I ever have before. And that's how I can communicate with him and be with him and feel him, is because I have fuller range of my emotions and feel life deeply and fully. And he says that that's really the secret to coming alive. So, and today he told me that if somebody really wants to make that connection with their loved ones on the other side, one key thing, besides opening up emotionally, is that you really have to focus on them if that's what you want. because the more we all know, the more you talk about something, the more you make it real, the more it has a presence in your life. We all know that from basic manifestation principles. Well, the same thing goes for contact with the other side. You have to make it a part of your everyday existence. Like I do. I'm always talking to Alan, and I'm always hearing him talk to me, and I feel him around me, and he's part of my world. He is my world, actually. So he gets stronger because he says, when I do that, I anchor him into this reality, and that's how they can be more present and can have more effect and can do more. And when he told that to me today, I said, well, that makes a lot of sense. You know, there's work on our part to do. So this is not a passive thing where you say, well, just appear to me. They can, and they do. But that's just one thing. And people have had the experience of seeing their deceased loved ones once, twice, whatever. But ongoing, feeling them every day, hearing them talk to you, really having the sense that they're always there, that for a lot of people, not everybody, but for a lot of people, needs kind of a reset of your idea of reality. And we know that that's not easy for a lot of people because we live in a world that basically programs us to not believe in the unseen world. And I think, as most of us know who are on this call, the unseen world is really the real world. And this world is the fake world, right? The unreal world. So that's kind of my story in a nutshell. I didn't want to go long on it, but since, you know, I'm here to talk about more deeply about this, about this, I wanted to give you that basis. And of course, later we'll open up for questions. But this happened to me just spontaneously. It was not ever planned. I didn't know where it was taking me when Alan came back, but apparently he did. And we're just beginning. And he promised me that the years that are ahead of me would be the best years of my life. And quite often he says to me, Pam, isn't it great that I'm dead? Isn't it better? And I have to say it is better, because he had dementia and he was 83 when he died, and he wasn't having a good time. He's saying the last 10 years were not the best. And he's so happy now, and he's made me so happy. If anybody told me I'd be happier when my husband died, I just wouldn't believe them. But I am happy, and I wouldn't change anything. I miss him, absolutely, because he's not in the body, but I have all that I need, because really all I needed was his love, and he gives me that 24/7. And he gives me attention 24/7, which no person in a body could do for another person. So I really have the best of everything, I think. And look forward to helping other people who want to share their journey do the same. That's why we're writing our book. And our book is titled Supernatural Love, A True Story of Life and Love After Death. And hopefully we'll be out by the spring of next year. So, okay, that's my quick version of our story. And I want to turn that over to Shaun, because he's got an incredible story. I was so excited to hear his story. I know there are a lot of our group members on this call, and they know Alan and me. And there are a lot of new people that we don't know that are Shaun's contacts. So Shaun, can you share so that my people can get to know you like Alan and I've gotten to know you?
Sure, thanks. Well, so Pam kind of wrangled me and Alan to do this. They're forcing
We sure
me.
did. We sure did. We dragged people out of the closet. You guys stick around with us, we'll pull you into the screen. So here you go.
She just asked me if I would be involved. I did not know she made this beautiful graphic and events and everything. But once I saw that she did, I'm like, okay, now or never, right? So many of you know some pieces of my story. I've never really shared it. And it'll be a mini series, so I won't be sharing it all here either. But meaning not that it would be on TV, but just it'll take weeks to tell it. But so ironically, Pam and I, we live
Yeah,
less than a mile or something from each other. I look up at where she lives, and she looks down on where I live. And she lives on a mountain here that is actually technically known as Wahila Ridge, but I call it Mom's Mountain. And I did before I knew Pam. And so I'm not surprised that that's where Pam lives, up there with my mom. That kind of keeps an eye over me. So basically, my mom passed away somewhere around, I think, 2015, something like that. And I wasn't able to go to her memorial. And so basically, she, in a nutshell, she said, I'm not there. This is where I'll be. She showed me a garden and a beautiful, with all these trees and a log that she was sitting on. And she showed me where she would be. And that's where she said to go spend some time with her. Well, I had no idea where that is. Both me and my mom were into plants, and I was a landscape contractor, partly due to her influence. And so I didn't know where this garden was. Anyway, about 6 months to a year later, another sister was visiting, and we decided to go. I've never been up there to this park, and there were some other places that I hadn't been either. One was Manoa Falls, which everybody who lives here and visits goes there, but I hadn't. So anyway, the sister was visiting. We went to Manoa Falls, and I started getting some sort of vertigo and just very odd feelings when we were over there. And then as we were going through Manoa, and we decided, okay, we're going to now go up to this park which is Wahila Ridge or Wahila Park. Anyway, as we were heading up there, I just got all kinds of vertigo. And as we finally got there, I thought I had altitude sickness, and I'm born in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I've lived in the mountains, so I don't get altitude sickness, but it was, I think it's maybe 3,000 or 4,000 feet. So it's like crazy to have. There's no such thing as altitude sickness here on this island. Anyway, got out of the car. I did a face plant. I tripped. I was completely out of sorts, and rested. And at some point we started to go for a walk. And as we were going through on this walkway, I turned to the left, and there was my mom on the log. And so I thought, okay, I'm going nuts now, because there she is. And this is the garden that she had shown me about a year ago, where she said she was going to be. So of course my sister could not see her. I wish that she had, but she didn't. And we tried to film, take pictures. My sister would sit on the log. We were doing all this stuff to see, maybe she'll appear at the camera, but she didn't. Anyway, long story short, throughout a period of the next year, I learned some reasons why she was here, but not the biggest reason, I guess. And the biggest reason is then I got really sick and started to die, and I did not know that I was dying. She did not tell me any of this. Nobody told me any of this. In fact, I didn't realize I was dying. So within a few months of pretty much my whole body shutting down and dying, I finally went to the ICU and the emergency, the doctor, then ER, then ICU. And so I'll make it brief, but basically she was here to be with me that whole time, to make sure that I made it through this, because I was in the hospital for months, in the ICU for at least a month, and the ventilator and so forth. And so really, I wouldn't have made it through or be here today if it wasn't for her and the other people. And so in sharing with what Pam wanted to talk about today and how people can help us. Literally, I'm living proof that my mom and others helped me through. And I'll tell a real quick other story in this long story is that my nephew, he had passed in 2007. And when I'd been on the ventilator for a period, and you're not supposed to be on there too long because it's not good for whatever reasons. And so at some point they figured they need to take me off and sink or swim, see if he can breathe. And if not, then I think the last thing they might try is a tracheotomy or something. But anyway, as they pulled the tube out, my nephew, who had died of cystic fibrosis,
Okay.
he puffed up his chest, and as the tube was coming out, he breathed into me, and I was able to breathe. So he helped me breathe for quite a while. And then, even though I was at like 40% saturation, he helped me breathe. And to make a long story short, him and my mom and several others have helped me be here today. So I just wanted to share that they are here for us if we'll just listen. It takes a little bit of work, but they're here to help us. So hopefully that was brief enough. I know I went over though.
What do you mean? You didn't go over. I feel like you only just get into the good stuff. But yeah, they're here.
Can I add something with my experience with my wife?
Yeah, this is Bernie Siegel, by the way.
Hi, Bernie. Good to
Hi.
have you here. Good to meet you.
Because I sent a little chat note, but my wife died 3.5 years ago. I can't say, I mean, I've had a near-death experience and a past life experience, so I'm open-minded about all this, but I didn't know what to expect after she died. But the first 2 weeks, she kissed me goodnight. And what I mean by that is I would hear the sound, kind of sound we make when we blow out a candle. And then I'd feel a breeze on my face. And it went on for about 2 or 3 weeks every night. Then numbers, which have, as Jung said, quantity and meaning. We were married on the 11th, and I started finding a dime and a penny everywhere. And they became known as pennies from heaven, in our family. But when I say everywhere, on the mattress, when I'm changing the bed, and by that I mean under everything. It's not something that fell out of my pocket. And mystically, the sheets and blankets were pulled out of my hands and thrown across the bed, so that I looked down and there was the dime and the penny on the mattress that I never would have seen if I just pulled it to tighten it up, because it's the same bed that we slept in. The other is she was born on 9/9, and my heart 9 months after she died had an arrhythmia. So I went to the emergency room, and just walking in the door of the emergency room, I hear a man in the back yell, "Put him in room 9." And then they said, "We don't have a room in the hospital for you yet. You have to stay in the emergency room." Finally, we got a room, and it was 819. And then my wristband, everything adds up to 9. There's an 8, which means a new beginning, but then is 996633. So it became a joke, because every time I'd go back for a checkup, they'd say, "We know everything adds up to 9. That was the doctors and nurses. They were tired of me holding up my wristband that you'd get every time you visit to show me that. Also, she brings back lost items. Couldn't find my cell phone. The kids searched the house. We called it, went outside, looked in the car, nothing. Sunday night, our son said, "I'm going home. I can't find it." 5 minutes later, he's back in the house. "What is it?" "I heard Mom's voice. She said, go look in that chair out there in the yard by the woods." And there was the phone sitting on the chair seat. Now, I don't know how it got there, okay? I have not sat in that chair, because I used it Friday night and couldn't find it Saturday morning. I have found, this may sound crazy, but a tree fell on our fence and broke pieces. And the other day I found one of those that I couldn't find anywhere, way away from the fence. I mean, there's no explanation for where I found it, but because if it was always there, I would have seen it, months ago. It's a white little piece. And there I picked it up, and I know it was a gift from my wife. So all these things that are missing. Oh yeah, in the wintertime, my gloves fell apart. I said, I need a new pair of gloves. I figured, what the hell do I have to lose by asking, And about a week later, I went shopping, came out, and sitting at the driver's door in the parking lot were a pair of gloves. And it wasn't because somebody dropped them. I mean, the same cars were still parked all around me. The one thing I'm still asking for that I haven't had is winning the lottery, because I don't know if that's allowed in her world. But we have 7 people, including twins, so we have 6 birthdays. So I just tell her, why don't you play, the 6 birthdays? If you could make those numbers come up in the Connecticut lottery where I live, that would be wonderful. And so we'll see what happens. If it ever comes up, I'm going to start a charity in her name. I don't mean it, to make myself richer, but just to do good things with it. So we'll see, because we had an incredible love. That was the part. And so I still have all her photographs all over the house, a portrait I did of her, and we keep talking. And the mystical thing that happened that I've talked to our smaller group about, a patient of mine went to Hawaii to straighten out her relationship with her mother before she died. And then she died on the island. A year later, my wife and I went to Kauai to give an outdoor lecture and workshop. And we went into a store on the way from the airport to our car, and there was a butterfly lost in the store because of the lights. It was totally confused. And we were always rescuing animals. So my wife put her hand up, and the butterfly came right over, landed on the palm of her hand, and came outside with us. We're now expecting it to fly away, but instead it sat on my wife's shoulder, got in the car, went to the hotel, up to our room. And on my website, there's a story called "You Can't Sleep with a Butterfly," because I literally said that to my wife. It was getting late. The butterfly and she are, living together. And I said, honey, you can't sleep with a butterfly. You have to get rid of it. So she went out on the porch, said, okay, I brushed it off my shoulder. I said, look at your other shoulder. It came back in on her other shoulder. So I knew it was my dead patient. And I started talking to the butterfly like you would to another person. I said, we're doing a workshop tomorrow. I'd like you to jump into a bag in the morning. I'll take you there. I'll open the bag. We'll discuss the symbolism of butterflies and transformation. And I went on with a whole lecture to this butterfly. Next morning, I hold the bag up. Butterfly jumps in. When we got there, I opened it. It came out and flew over our heads from 9 in the morning till 5 at night. Never left till the workshop was over. And maybe a year or so after, the same butterfly, I heard a crashing noise in our living room. And I wondered, what the heck is that? It was a butterfly in the house banging on the glass. The same butterfly. So I put my hand, I don't mean identical, I mean the same breed of butterfly, because it's yellow with black stripes. I put my hand up like my wife had done, and this butterfly flies over to me and lands on my hand. And then we walk outside and I let it fly away. But I know my wife was another way of connecting with me and sent that butterfly, because there is just no explanation. And I probably have left out many things because it becomes just a part of my life. So I'm always talking to her, communicating with her. And I know she's talking to me because I hear voices. I've heard them my whole life. That have been incredible insights. Tell them what to do. And so I know, again,
Oh, I was gonna go.
talks to me and I
It's-
can listen and then
2:30.
do the things that I hear because I know they're coming from that special place. Anyway, I think that's, the truth.
And Bernie, by the way, remember you are going to win that lottery, as we discussed.
Well,
Because that's how you're all going to come to Hawaii to tell the story
Oh.
here for your whole hour and a half presentation. Remember,
all
with
right,
Charlie.
I'll try to convince her about that.
So
Why?
yeah, because you need enough money to charter the plane. Remember?
Okay. But I'll tell you, when things like this happen, well, yeah, I've written a little story. If you ever want this added to your book, I'm happy to do it, to send it to you. Because, the title is We Don't Die. I mean, I can't deny all the things that have happened to me and that have happened since my wife died. It's just incredible. So, you know the truth when you live it. And I'm never afraid to speak my truth. I don't worry about what people think. I know I'm telling my truth.
I think that there are a lot more people that are having this experience. I keep hearing about them. And Alan said that once our book is out, that we're going to get a flood of emails from people, letters, whatever, and people saying that that's happening to me too, because I'm already hearing it. And of course, most people aren't going to write a book about it because, it's not something you go out and tell everybody. A lot of your friends or family will just roll their eyes. I mean, Alan's sons his older sons in the UK, that they can't really accept it, but he's not worried about it because they never could accept that he was doing readings. Why would they accept that he came back from the other side? They didn't even understand psychic readings. So we don't care. We're not worried about that. But he says a lot of people are having this. He says it's more common than anyone imagines. And once people start sharing, like Bernie has so beautifully, and when people start sharing their experience and have the courage to, it's going to give other people permission, because a lot of people feel they need it, to share themselves, or even maybe even more amazingly, open up to the possibility. Yeah. Because some people are saying, hey, this happened to me, that means it could happen to you. And I don't know why, but Alan wants me to also say that one of the things he told me, it was in February, he said, you're going to see me like physically, like 3D physically, right? And he said this through someone we had just met, a psychic medium who's in Sydney, Australia, who she saw him. Okay, he does want me to tell the quick story. It's not really a quick story, but she heard about Alan and me through somebody who joined our group. And somehow she knew, because she's psychic, she knew that we could help her because her niece's son, who'd just been born, was struggling in ICU and was very sick, but the baby had almost died several times. And she knew miracles are possible. So when she heard about us, she said, oh, here's my miracle. So all she did was call our name. She didn't even wait to go home to look us up online to see if we were for real. She just said, no, I know this is the miracle. She just called our names, Pam and Alan Johnson, Pam and Alan Johnson. And she said in a few moments, Alan appeared in the back seat of her car because she could see him she was in her car. She could see him in the rearview mirror. And she described what he was wearing. She told me later he was wearing a gray suit. And I said, oh, that's a suit that, unbeknownst to me, he told me, oh, I wear that when I go to the hospital. I said, why, honey, are you wearing your gray suit? And I have a photo of it. And he said, because you don't know who's clairvoyant when you go to a hospital. And if anybody sees me, I want them to know I'm somebody important. I'm not going to wear t-shirts and shorts. So I thought, okay, well, that makes sense. You're wearing your suit. So when I showed her the photo of Alan, she goes, oh yeah, that's him. And that's his suit. That's who I saw. And she said he immediately went to help the baby. And he proceeded to hang out with her in Sydney for a while. And she also asked that he prove himself to her, because she doesn't just take these visitations, at face value. She actually does talk to their side quite often. She says you can talk to anybody on the other side. and she has talked to many. So, but she says she wanted proof. So she asked Alan to prove it by sending her a bird, because she loves birds. And coincidentally, Alan totally loves birds. He always loved birds. He would sing along with the birds, and they would sing with him at the kitchen window. And so when she asked him that, he said, okay. And she said, well, you have one of three choices. Here's the three choices of birds: eagle, a gala, I hope I pronounced that right. That's apparently in Australia, a type of bird, and then a pelican. So she said that, and immediately, in a few moments, a eagle flew across her car, the front of her car. So she said, great, you did that. How about the galas? How about the next bird? Within another few moments, two pink galas flew over her car. And then she was so excited. So she said, well, how about a pelican? Pelicans are my favorite birds. I love pelicans. She has this thing about pelicans from when she was a child. And then he was silent, and he goes, well, pelicans might be hard because they don't really listen to humans. And she smiled, and she goes, I could see that. But he says, you know what, I'll try. I can't promise, but I'll try. And so in the course of him hanging out with her for a week, through the time of helping this baby, who, by the way, he ended up helping for until recently. This was in February. He was with this baby, helping this baby heal, and until just recently. And she could see him there. But in the course of this first week, he was staying with her, talking to her. She said she really enjoyed his company. He was also at the time having her pass me messages, because I wasn't completely hearing him clearly. It was all beginning. And she was really amazing in passing on songs to me and poems for me. He'd make her go look for a poem online. One was Pearl of My Heart that she found that he wanted for me. It was all these things. And at the end of that week, on a Saturday, her sister came to visit. Her sister was the grandmother of that baby. And the sister and her were in a swimming pool. And all of a sudden, they look up and they see pelicans. Okay. Pelicans, she says, are not really common in her area. And by the way, the eagle that she saw, that eagle was flying over her in the summer in Australia. And she says they're not usually out and about in the summer. So the pelican was hovering over the pool, came in real close, and this one pelican looked down on them from flying, looked at them, really made eye contact, and then kept going. And her sister was like, they were both screaming, like, is that Alan? And this woman says, yeah, that's Alan, like he did that. So he ended up being able to prove that, with all the birds. So he was really proud of that he got the pelicans to listen to.
Well, let me tell you something, because a patient walked into my office, you'll enjoy this, and said, I've learned you're not a normal doctor. So I'm a mystic. And I asked other friends of mine who are mystics to get messages for you from dead, patients. And she gave me quotes with names of these people. And even about my wife. After my wife died, she called me and said, a lovely lady who was an opera singer called to say Bobby's fine. My wife's mother was an opera singer, and she doesn't know any of this. But every time I'd call one of the families, they'd shriek. I'd say, I didn't mean to upset you. You're not upsetting me. That's what my husband said all the time, after he'd leave your meetings. And so again, thank God I'm not a normal doctor, because the same thing what you were saying with near-death experience, that was told by doctors. Oh, that's the brain waves in your, and that has nothing to do with that. It's what electrical stuff in your brain. And then when they had a near-death experience, they wrote a book, and it was no longer about brain waves. It was a real event. So I've always accepted these things and been known, and that includes transplant patients. One book, A Change of Heart by Claire Sylvia, she had lungs and heart transplanted. And to make, again, another long story short, she, in a dream, was met by this young man who said, "We're together forever," gave her his name. Family looked it up. He was the donor of her organs. And she could see the changes in her, including a motorcycle ride, which he loved motorcycles and died in a crash. But you see, these are the things I've heard. So it changes my beliefs because people aren't afraid to talk to me. They know I'm not going to say, "Oh, that's crazy. That can't be. There's no way of explaining that." I don't worry about explaining it. I worry about experiencing it. If I experience it, it's real. Same thing with my, as I say, my past life and near death, because it explains so many things to me about my wife and I and our bond, because I'm not going to go into details and take up the time, but we had something happen in a past life that I needed to go get therapy for. And the therapist, the Jungian therapist, he helped me understand what the whole symbol, like who I was today. Because
you can't tell that here, Bernie, because that story involves a whole hour. So, okay, good. Because that's an important one.
In fact, I put it in a book with somebody else as having experienced it. All right. No, I think I've told all the things I need to tell.
Yeah, but that big one needs a lot of time.
Right. And God and I are close. We talk every day.
Let me share just real quickly for those that are not on Facebook. We have somebody here today that today's their 22-year anniversary of the passing of their children, because I think they're both watching. But I just wanted to share that Beth and Rick Olson, they came and spoke to our Hawaiian IANDS group. And today is literally the 22-year anniversary of the loss of their children, who basically came to them and have been helping them do all kinds of amazing things. And they wrote a book. And so in Pam's group is a link to their movie, and then also in our not their movie, but the chat that we had with them. So I just wanted to acknowledge that before we forget that today's a very solemn day for them, and also a inspirational day for all of us that have loved ones helping us through the other side, because they've been doing this for 22 years with their children, helping them do all kinds of amazing things and help others heal. So I just wanted to share that before we go too far. They're not going to speak to us today, but they have graced us with their presence. So I just wanted to share that.
Yes, we're so glad that they're here. Our hearts are go out to you or with you. And I just wanted to add that I recently heard from from somebody I know that a friend of hers lost a 2-year-old. The 2-year-old died tragically. And apparently the 2-year-old has become able to communicate with the mother. And that 2-year-old is now guiding the mother. So if you think about it, some people think, well, it's only 2 years old. Like how is a 2-year-old going to guide her mother? But we're consciousness. 2 years old is just a biological age, and the consciousness is eternal and ageless. So to me, it made total sense. But this person that told me that she's an entrepreneur, and when she heard our story, she said, because I was telling it to her, she got major goosebumps. Again, Alan. And she said, yeah, I know this is real. And I know that what you're showing people and what this is about can change people's lives and heal them. And look at this person I know who's being guided by her 2-year-old daughter. And yes, she's grieving her loss, but at the same time, the daughter is present in her life and is helping her in her life. So I just think that's just so amazing. So to me, death is like bittersweet. The bitterness is that they're gone physically and you can't hug them and touch them and kiss them. But the sweet part is the love is still there. and that love is unconditional, and that love can heal us and change us. And Alan says, most of all, can ignite our own self-love, because most people don't love themselves. And it all starts with that. If you don't love yourself, how are you ever going to really love other people? And for that matter, if you don't love yourself, how can you receive somebody's love? So it all starts with us. And the beautiful thing is, even if you don't have anybody in your life right now who loves you unconditionally, you have legions of loved ones on the other side who love you. I recently connected with my maternal grandfather, who I never knew because he died way before I was born. And he came through, and he was such a beautiful soul, and he gave me his love, and he said how proud he was of me, and I could feel his essence and feel his support, and it was amazing. And they're all there wanting nothing more than to love us and support us. And Alan says that because they know we're living in challenging times, they want to help us. Like, first heal us, like open our hearts so we can love ourselves unconditionally, but also guide us and in our lives, and just help us feel less alone. And he says that they have so much to offer, like, because they're not dead. They're more alive than we are, and they just happen to not have a body. Oh, and the other thing, okay, he wants me to make this point too. One thing he said to me when he came back was, I said, people don't understand that here in this world, you actually can have it all. Because in heaven, on the other side, whatever your name for that is, we can do anything, be anywhere. That's true. He says, but we don't have a body. Okay, we don't have a body. We're just consciousness. So how many times has he said to me, God, I wish I had a body, because then I could do that, or I could do this. Because I can't do that. I can't physically get in here and push something around. So I said, okay, that's right. And he said, but if people understood that if you just raised your consciousness, you just loved yourself, loved somebody else unconditionally, let somebody else love you unconditionally from the other side. If nobody here loves you unconditionally, someone on the other side does. He says, then you can have it all. You could have it all, whereas we cannot have it all. We can't be in a body, even though we're this expanded consciousness. And if we came back, we would once again be a limited consciousness, because that's the deal. That's the game plan for this reality. But while you're in a body, you could have all of that. And he says that some people actually find a way to do that or get really close. Okay, and that is something he's really excited about, because he says it is possible. Isn't that what ascension is about? He says it's all about love, and he didn't understand that till he got to their side and he realized love is the answer for everything. Love can do anything and everything. Whatever you want to do, if you fill in, okay, I just need love. Like, you want to be psychic, you just need love. You want to heal yourself, you just need love. You want to be enlightened, you need love. Like, whatever it is, it's love. It's not what you know intellectually. It's none of that. It's how well do you love, and how much love are you allowing to flow to you, because you have to receive too. And he was adamant when he came back to me and he said, I want to teach about love, because I know now that that's all that matters. All the other stuff, it's window dressing. All the other stuff is mind candy. All the other stuff is just fun and games for while you're here. And when you get to the other side, all you ask yourself is, how well did I love? How did I love fully? Did I love fearlessly? And that's what you look at. So that's his message. He gets really adamant about it, really strong about that. But he's making himself known to people. And he says the other side, your loved ones, they want to make themselves known to you too. So talk about them. Don't just, like, I know some people call in their loved ones like on the holidays, and he says that's beautiful, that's wonderful, but make that every day. Don't just wait for Christmas or a birthday. You know how people all flock to the cemeteries when it's a holiday and they put graves on, the grave sites for their loved ones. And he says, they're not there anyway. Just give them the flowers at home. Just talk to them every day. And because they're here, the only reason we don't feel them is because we're not engaging. And
But
we're
it's
not,
also
not in our
because
head.
we have all these false barriers
Right,
that are
right,
preventing us from feel love. And that's what
right.
one of the first things that I saw in my near-death experience, that everything I believed about myself was not true. So if we are walking around thinking that nobody loves us and we're unlovable, they can scream at us and do all kinds of stuff, and
Right.
we're not going to hear them. So that's the first thing that
Well,
we have to try to release, at least in my experience.
Well, I think that's the first thing when Alan said he came back to open me so that he could love me, because he said to him it was a feel. The first was focus on your feelings, your emotions, not about seeing him or even hearing him. Although I
Right.
could do a little
I
bit
mean,
of that.
open you so you
Yeah,
could feel
open
him.
me so I could feel him, but also I had to really love me, right? Like I was already pretty much there, but I still had more to go. And because he said, you have to feel my love. And after that, the other things come. They're not hard, believe it or not. Clairvoyant vision is not that hard. Clairaudience, some people say, is a little harder. For me, it was easy. But he said, if you feel love, okay, then that's going to heal you. That's going to open you up, because you're not going to heal by just seeing them. You're not right. You're not going to necessarily heal
And you're
by
not going to
hearing them
feel it
talk.
unless you acknowledge you are lovable.
Right, but they'll come through with their love. And now Alan's saying we got to talk about music, because music he says, is a powerful force for connecting to the other side, just like you and I know, because we both have our playlists.
That's actually a big thing that Pam and I have in common more than anything, is that we have this playlist from the other side. And what's really cool is we've now found that some of them are the same songs. At least that one that we saw.
Yeah, some of them. Well, I have like 100 and I don't know, 50 something. You must have more. You've been at it longer than me. And some people I do know have more. But he said, and I wasn't a music person, guys. Probably a lot of you on this call are into music. I don't know. That's how like dead I was. I didn't have music playing in our house. And then when he crossed over, oh my God, music, music, music. He just was giving me songs. And he says, it's to open you up, and I found myself singing to the song, dancing to the song, feeling each song, feeling the emotion, crying, feeling joy, feeling all up and down and all around. And he said, it's to wake you up, okay? Because music is pure emotion. And it's the only
vibration.
Thing we have.
It's vibration.
Right.
So it helps us.
Right. And he says, then it breaks through your mind chatter, and you have an experience, the music. So yeah, that's powerful. And
the thing about feeling the love, just from this personal thing. So I never felt my grandma when she died or anything, one of my grandmothers. And so after my experience, they all started coming through. But this one grandmother came, and I'm like, literally kind of leery, like, why are you here? What? Because actually I kept thinking they're gonna like change their mind and take me back. So I really did. So I would get, if somebody new comes through, I would get a little nervous, like, why are you here? And so I asked my grandmother, you know what? Yeah, literally, like, but they don't want me either. They keep kicking me back here. But anyway, she actually said to me, and this was weird. It was like, it stunned me. Because I'm like, why are you here? She said, just let me love you. That's what she said. And I realized, oh my gosh, even after what I've experienced, I'm still not completely letting them love me. So it's just really important to make that choice to allow the love in.
Allow the love in. Yeah, it's a journey for sure, but that's important. And there's like pure unconditional love. So we kind of have to at least get close to that frequency. So that's why if somebody has a lot of grief, because it's so dense and heavy, and it just makes it really hard for them to get through. Alan he was just blasting me with love from the day after he left. And I didn't know that was what I was feeling. I felt like this energy just like boom. And I'd tell my friends who were psychic mediums, like, what is this? And they said, that's his love blast. He's just like opening your heart. He's like, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. And I said, wow, I just feel this energy come in and I don't know what to do with it. And he said, well, he's reaching out to you. And he said, I need you to cry. You need to cry. I have to cry. You need to cry. You have to get all of that pain out to make room for the love. Okay, whether the pain is the grief or the pain for somebody else, it could be self-loathing, it could be self-hatred, it could be depression, whatever it is. He said, you have to clear that out or I can't come in. And I want to love you. I want to be with you in a full way, but we have to get closer, right? My frequency and my vibration had to get closer. So I'd cry and cry and cry. And then I'd finally have a little more room for his love. And I kept doing that. And he supported me through it. So I always felt, and around me, I was just still crying a lot. And he would just say, just let it all out, just cry. And as you do that, you can't cry forever. You'll feel a little better. And tomorrow you're gonna probably need to cry again. But I've gotten to a point now where I really don't cry. People have told me that grief kind of stays with you for a long time, but I honestly don't feel that anymore. I feel like I reached a new threshold with him because I'm so focused on now and that he's here and I know he's here. And I don't even think back to the past. It seems like another lifetime. Well, it was. And I'm focused on now and feeling him in this moment. And I feel just flooded with his love all the time. I feel that almost like this tingling all the time, which isn't really sexual. It's hard to explain. It just feels like my body's vibrating, like I'm just like pulsing with this life force that carries me. And he says everyone can have that. This is not something, just for us. He's saying no. And there's some people that will feel it more profoundly because quite honestly, I'm not like, I know you, Shaun, you're very empathic and I'm not that empathic. I mean, Alan's made me a bit more. He was very empathic. But I wasn't. I was really more in my head, more of an intellectual, so to speak, and kind of needed to be because I was a strong one in the family. I was the one that did everything, like a lot of women who are married, like did everything, ran the house, took care of him, took care of our son, took care of everybody. And so I got used to being in that frequency of being in my head, and that's why he had to bring me into my heart. And now I'm there. And I can feel him more.
And that's another thing for people here that want to hear their loved ones, because really they're speaking to you, whether you know it or not. And whether you feel it or not, they're trying. Like I told my sisters, I'm like, you guys got to start listening or she's going to start throwing TVs and stuff. So being in your head, that's why I thought of that.
Being in your head, yeah.
Yeah, if we are expecting them to be the same that they were here, then you're not going to see them because they are their perfect selves up there.
Yeah.
And it's not really up there, it's all around. But anyway,
right.
They are their perfect
over there.
selves.
Like right over here.
So, yeah, right. It's exactly there.
Right here, right here. He's saying, I'm right here.
So we identify with the part of them that we know, but they are their whole part, their God self, or whatever words you want to use that makes you feel well. But so if we're expecting them to be the exact, let's say they were rather unhealed or whatever in there, then we're not going to see them because and a good person, most of you know who Esther Hicks is. She's got a good thing on it because she can channel Abraham, but when her husband died, she couldn't hear him, so she was rather distraught, and that was one of the things that they helped her with. Is she was looking for Jerry, the Jerry she knew, and so she couldn't hear him.
Right. She couldn't find him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There, and Ellen said to me, because I would hear him talk in my head. And of course, what any of you are going to think is like, oh, I'm just talking to myself. And after a while of that happening, He said, "Do you really think I'd go through all this trouble of coming back to you and all the other things that you've seen happen, like two people and you and everything? You think I'd let you talk to yourself? I wouldn't let you talk to yourself. I'm gonna like be yelling, jumping up and down, going, hey, I'm talking to you." And anyway, it's not that easy to talk to yourself in a fluid fashion where it's coherent and it's conversational. It's really not, easy to do that. And so, because I've had students try and they go, yeah, that's not easy. How do I do that? And so you got to just trust that they're talking to you.
An exercise for people. One of my patients who had polio as a child, deformed body, dying with a neurological problem, which went into complete remission. She said, what I did was lie naked in front of a mirror and love my body inch by inch. She said, I'd start on my toes and work my way up. And she went into complete remission. And I'd say, listening to everybody here, try that. Love yourself. Because if your parents didn't, you got a problem. And it's amazing what can happen when your body is filled with love. It has physical effects. And I mean, just to be one more crazy thing, and I'll try to be quiet. In the operating room, my patient's heart stopped beating. The anesthesiologist said, I'm calling the morgue to send a stretcher to pick him up. I can't get it going again. So what does Crazy Siegel do? He yells out, Tommy, it's not your time yet. Come on back. And his heart started beating again and he recovered completely. And the anesthesiologist's final words were, I love working with you. But yeah, and I played music in the operating room and everything else. So, because I could see the effect it had on people. And that's what transformed people. They all thought I was a nutcase, an explosion hazard, bringing in, electrical devices with explosive anesthetic gases. But within 2 weeks, everybody was imitating me because it felt better. And my patients got a wonderful label. That's one of Siegel's crazy patients. That meant good results are expected. Don't get confused by, why they're not having all the problems everybody else does. That's one of his crazy patients. But it's a benefit to be a crazy person or patient. Yeah.
That's a good crazy that we all want.
Yes.
Sure. I'll take the crazy. Okay. So I don't know where we're at. Let's see. We're at an hour now. Do we want to take questions, or is there something else you want to say, Shaun?
And there also is a question.
Yeah, there's a few questions. We'll do those in a minute.
Okay.
I was going to say to add on to the crazy. Do you want to talk about that? Bernie,
Add on to the crazy.
Bernie, thank you so much, by the way. I just got to shout out the people I've already done. I won't do it today, but Bernie is one of the many people, well, not many, there's a small group in my life when I was 13 that helped me on my path. And Bernie's one of those. And it's such an honor always to be in a room with him or in a conversation with him, because when I met him last time I met him, or the first time I met him, I've met Steven Spielberg and everybody, and I am not starstruck, but when I met Bernie, I was a little bit of a wreck that first day. So I'm honored, and all of us have benefited so much from Bernie's work. If you don't know who he is, definitely Google him, because he is a pioneer in all of this. And starting in 78 or whatever, your cancer, and so he's one of he's the first crazy guy that now they all say is like, now they're all building upon his work. But back then he was called a nut. But the good thing is I grew up in a nut house, so we had all his books. So,
how people live, they feel safe with you and they tell you their stories.
Yeah.
And that's why life is a story. And when people aren't afraid, they talk to you. That's why, as I said, when that woman came in and said, I've learned you're a crazy doctor, so I can, do these things and tell you that I'm communicating with dead people. Yeah, because as I said, she's called me. She has no idea. I haven't called her to say somebody died, bring me a message. It's all mystical. The phone rings and it's Monica. And she just talked to a patient I know who has died, or my wife, or that's why I thought my wife would be a test, because she doesn't know that she died. It was unexpected. In the morning when I went to wake her up, I found she was dead. And then within 48 hours, there's a phone call from Monica describing my wife's mother as the person getting her the message. I mean, you can't deny those things, though lots of doctors did. They would all say to me, oh, that's a story. That's not statistical. That's not this. That's not that. Because it drove them crazy to hear these things. But then something happens to them and they write a book and they tell me, thank you for all you're doing. Yeah.
Well, I'm also a Bernie fan, because I remember reading your books, because I'm, in my 60s. So I definitely grew up with your books. So I'm so honored and happy to meet you too, Bernie. And God, one thing I do believe is that when somebody loses a loved one, I think it's an opportunity for them to open up to the idea that there is no death. If they can break through the grief, they start pondering the possibility, because their grief often forces them to at least consider the idea. Many of them go to a medium for the first time, even if they were skeptical or complete unbelievers. And, because you start thinking about that, right? When somebody dies, like, where'd they go? Am I going to see them again? Is that really it? And those are the questions that are important for us to ponder and to really think about, because that can change our life when you start to go down that road. So I really think can be an incredible gift in a lot of ways, even though it's really tragic. I remember
And also you can have a better relationship with them.
Yes.
did.
Oh yeah. Because they're now
So
pure unconditional love.
they were
Alan,
normal, married 30 years, husband and wife, and now they're,
That's
much
right.
different, right? And
Yep.
and my mom, we had a quite dysfunctional mother-son relationship, and it's completely healed, and I can still talk about what happened
Right.
when she was in a body, and she knows, and it doesn't, because it's part of, but it's you can really have this closer, better relationship with them than you ever had.
You had before. I have a question for you about that then, Shaun. So did you ever have to talk to your mom about things she did that you were really still upset about? Did you have to, bring some healing to that? Because I was really angry at Alan. Like for 2 days, I was yelling at him, like, you're such an asshole. and he let me vent, he let me cry and yell, and she has to get out of her system. He wasn't upset, just get out of your system. Just, yes, I was an asshole. I did not appreciate you. I am kicking myself all day long. Okay, and I'm here and I want to love you now. So I tried to get that out. And then it was gone. I just had to vent. So did you go through anything like that?
Well, because she came to me before my NDE, I didn't really know why she was here, but she did tell me some things. So then I did have energy, but I really didn't have to talk to her about it, because my NDE was like almost a cleansing for me.
Okay.
Because I know the truth. So one of the amazing things is when I got out of that, I felt complete forgiveness in that time. And of course for her, and I always have. And so, but see, also, because I see her and I know why she did the things that she did, I think that's what makes the forgiveness simple, is when you understand
like why
they were, the why, and
why
and all her demons that she had, that she was struggling with. It's almost like, it completely. So the interesting thing is, though, with her, it's completely healed. And so I can even talk about stuff that was quite traumatic that we went through. And even though I know she's here, at first it felt like I was talking behind her back, but it's like, how do you talk behind your mom's back when she's always
right here.
around you? So, but now it's like she'll even laugh at some of the things because she knows. So
Like
with
what's
her, no, there was no problem, and it was because of the NDE. But then, after the NDE, and so I still have this period. I had this period where I was like blasted by the light, and so I forgave everybody. I loved everybody. There was nothing. But as I started getting a little more physically healthy in this realm or this dream, some of these unhealed thoughts would come back. And so they're like little gremlins. So then there's like little judgments and unhealed stuff with family members that I thought I forget, but with her, it's completely forgiven.
Well, but Alan says this because she's present around you too. So it's easier because she's loving you in her true fashion, right? And the other ones in your life, they're not, because they're still stuck in their story, in their issues.
And also because she's her whole complete self. She's not driving me. She drives me crazy in a good way now.
Right. Like Alan drives me crazy in a good way. Like, stop turning off my phone every time you want me to rest. Like just tell me to rest. Don't turn off my phone. Don't make what I wrote disappear on the computer because you need to shut down the computer.
Yeah, and the thing is, I guess the biggest thing is when somebody loves you more than you felt love in your entire life. And I can tell everybody here, guaranteed, you don't know love until you feel it from either your own NDE or somebody from the other side connects with you. Because I can say that, like, there was, it's beyond words, the love that you can feel. And so, yeah, when I feel that love from her, it's impossible to have any judgments.
So can I interrupt here with a question?
Sure, please.
So you guys have had your partners come, I mean, your mother and your partner come to you, and with all the energy. I would love to connect with my mother, with any of my past ancestors, especially my mother or father or grandmother or grandfather. But I don't know how. And they're not coming to me as far as I know. So what do I do? Because I'm coming from the place where I think I'm open, but maybe I have to admit that I'm not open and I don't know anything about how to be.
Well,
let me just say that you know, since I know Kouise very well.
Okay.
Very well. There's some of those thoughts that you still think about yourself that are not true that we've talked about. So that's one place really in feeling the love. If you could really open yourself up to know the feeling of love, how much she really does love you, then that will help the ball rolling, because you have to put yourself in this receptive state of love. A lot of us, we say we want love, we want all this stuff, but then we actually push it away. So put yourself in that state where you really want to feel her love. And remember, you are worthy of it. And whether you like it or not, she loves the hell out of you. So
well, that's really wonderful to hear. I mean, that's really wonderful to feel, because I have had like an experience where I just poofed into the clouds. I was running on the beach and doing some really deep breathing, and all of a sudden I was a part of the sky and a part of the clouds. And in that moment, and then a few seconds later, I found myself back in my body on the beach, and sort of had a spiritual orgasm, is the best way I can describe it. But And so I know love. I have felt that love, even if it was just like that. I felt the depth of it. But I've never connected that love with my mother. I mean, now that she's on the other side, I suppose I could.
And ask her, tell her you want more of that. Put yourself, like, literally open up, like, literally say, Mom, that felt great, give me more. And another thing I'll just briefly say, Louise, is start going to Pam's group that I invited you to, because this is what Pam actually teaches in her group.
Well, and
her
remember,
classes.
Alan is teaching souls on the other side how to come through. Like, he had me read a book by a psychic medium. I told you about that. And in the book I'm reading, and this medium saying, oh yeah, and there's souls in heaven that teach the souls there how to come through to us here, because they don't all have the ability to easily do that. And as soon as I read that, because Alan is reading with me, I hear him go, yeah, see, that's what I'm doing. I told you I was going to do that. And he did. He told, that's the first thing he told me. I'm coming back. I'm teaching souls on the other side how to come through, break through the veil. And he's doing that. And what somebody in my groups, I wrote that, I think, in the group, and somebody said, I'm having my loved ones sign up for Alan's class. And he says, great, bring them on, you know. And already people are, I think, are having contact. There's 2 people in our group that are having that contact. One was a friend of ours. We actually knew her husband. He and Alan were friends. And when he passed away, you know, he passed away a year before Alan. And so when Alan passed, he went right to him. Like, and his wife even said, yeah, he told the wife, yeah, I'm waiting for Alan. And when Alan showed up, he started to work with her husband, and he started to come through to her. So she feels him all the time now, which she wasn't before. She was still grieving. And she has this beautiful relationship, very similar to what Alan and I have. So he was helping him as soon as he got there, he told me. And every time she would reach out to try to talk to Alan, she said she saw Alan push her husband to her, like, no, talk to him instead. Like, don't talk to me, talk to Daniel. And she go, wait a minute, I'd like to talk to Alan. And her husband wasn't letting her talk to Alan. He wanted to come through and talk to her directly. So I think that is happening. And we tell people in our group, if you want that help, then you know, just say the word. Alan will help you. He'll know who your loved one is. He'll do what he can. And some people, okay, he wants me to say, somebody that we did a reading for, because we do free mini readings when we do a Messages from Heaven event, and somebody we read for. And by the way, Alan chooses the people. He just says that one or that one. And the gal that we chose, her husband was coming through, and she could feel him physically hug her. She could physically feel it, which was wonderful. And of course, she wants more contact. And I said, well, Alan is saying that he's going to help your husband come through more to you. And obviously, he's already very strong in doing that. So she told, I think she only took a couple of days. She posted in the group that now she's feeling all these goosebumps. She goes, what is that? And I said, that's amazing. That's his love. He's loving you. Okay, he's loving you. And she was just thrilled. And Alan said, yeah, he's loving her and he's going to come through more. So we told her, just embrace it. Just talk to him, which is hard because her kids around her, they, you know, just say, but dad's dead. Like, they don't want to go there with this. So we told her, well, just go talk to him in the shower, or go talk to him, you know, in your closet, or just talk to him and ignore what they're saying and let him come through. So that just made my day when she told me that, because that's what we're here for. We want to help people make that contact. So, but obviously people vary in their ability to come through. That her husband could physically wrap his energy around her. She felt physically hugged. Oh, and Alan says also because she's sensitive, and it's 2 ways. It's not just them doing to us, okay? It's like we have to be receptive. We have to be more open and ready to feel it. Some people are very sensitive and can feel it, and some people less so. But everybody can get there. And I don't know what you think about that, Shaun, but that's what Alan showed me. Like, well, there's a little bit of preparatory work we have to do to receive them, but they'll do what they can on their
Well,
side.
yeah, literally. I mean, we have to be, wanting it, first of all.
And
because-
not like doubting it, like
Exactly.
going, am I crazy? Like, because that
Yeah.
just like cancels it. Cancel.
Well, right.
cancel.
Yeah. So the first thing there was something you said, but so those that are in Hawaii understand this, some of those, but we have like a lot of, if you're into sacred geometry or whatever, and people know that there's different, I think there's like 12 centers around the world, and Hawaii is one. But within Hawaii, there's all these little portal areas. So there's just, what she was saying is, for both of us, there are areas where the vibrations are going to be stronger, so without flipping anyone out, I mean, like, I have my mom and one of my sisters, they like to go hang out in cemeteries. And I've actually done, because in my past life, I did marketing. And like, I had to have a meeting with a client after my NDE, that I had to tie up some strings. So I took my mom, I went to this cemetery down in, very old cemetery in Honolulu, the one by King Straub, across from Straub. And I had a meeting with this client over the phone, or on the laptop. And I had, and I knew my mom and everybody was there with me. And I remember saying, there's no better place than to do business with energy vampire than in a cemetery, because I just called upon the people that I know that are helping me, and the energy there, because the cemetery is very old. So those are, literally your settings, a church, a chapel, an altar, those places also are going to help. And then one other thing is, there's like a 3-second rule. When you'll initially feel something, and what'll happen is after about 3 seconds, so if you don't notice this, after about 3 seconds, your ego and any unhealed stuff is going to talk you out of it. So when you feel something, go with it and say, oh, I just felt this goosebump. I think I was touched. Go with it, accept it as truth. And then what that does, that opens you up more to it. So that's, yeah.
I think the other way to do it too, because it's normal for people to wonder, is to say, well, I don't know what that was, but I know something happened. Don't deny the experience. Say, I'm not sure what that was, but something incredible happened.
Yeah, because our egos want us to say, yeah, like, you're crazy, that didn't happen to you. Well, maybe that happens to other people, but not to me.
You got it. This journey, it takes complete trust, because even though I've been in this field for 34 years as a intuitive, as a healer, I'm human. So I go, oh God, am I making it up? Is it just because I miss him? Like, I'm just creating this whole thing. And then Alan said, but Pam, everyone is creating their whole reality anyway. What's the difference? You guys are all creating like everything, but this happens to be real. The other stuff you're creating is not real.
Yeah, and also be in the present moment. If you're in a state of fear, and I know this for like really well, if you're in the present moment, your chances are more likely that you're gonna feel them. If you're in the past or worrying about the future, you're not gonna feel them, because you're not even alive. The only moment is right now. And so if you have fear thoughts, if you're struggling about your mortgage or whatever, if that's your frame of mind, you're not gonna hear them. But just be in the present, I think.
Right. If it's okay with you, Shaun, I know our friend Smita asked if she could share. Hi, Smita. So could we have Smita share? Let me see. I don't know if I can do it.
I'm doing it.
Jack's
Thanks, Jack.
Jack's your producer
Smita.
today.
Thank
I'm
you, Jack.
unmuted.
Okay, she's unmuted.
Yeah, so this is such a heartwarming story, and I feel so guided to share it with everybody here today. In 2014, one of our beloved school teachers died. My children have been to this elementary school, and lots of children have loved this teacher. He wasn't that old. He was maybe 47 years old, and he had just gone and left his oldest child at college in, I think, Oregon or Washington. And when he died, he just went out for a run and never came back home. And then they found him. It broke our heart. So I was part of an educational foundation at the time, or a local district foundation. So a friend and I, we decided to set up a fund for the family through the foundation. And so we put this fund together, and then I left the foundation in about a year's time from that point. And this was December of 2015. Christmas had just passed. 4:30 a.m. in the morning, I hear this teacher's voice, and he's telling me something very specific. And he said, my children are home for Christmas. My family could use the money. And I woke up with a start thinking, what? We haven't yet paid the family their check? How did this happen? And so I contacted certain people in the foundation, and I sent messages, through my own guides. I said, please, please, please make this happen. The family needs the money. And I couldn't share with anybody that, it was the teacher who woke me up. This is a teacher who's, been gone over a year, and he's the one who woke me up. So I just said, oh, looks like we haven't yet paid the family, so it's time that we gave them the check. And in a day's time, the check was given to the family. It was handed to them. And then I wrote to his widow. I said that, I was woken up with this feeling that we needed to send you the check. I didn't disclose to her that your late husband contacted me. So she wrote back saying that, oh my God, I am so touched by this gesture, and you wouldn't believe it. We had a rat infestation in our attic, and the guy gave us, he said that it was going to cost us $5,000. And I was just wondering, how are we going to pay for this rat infestation, where they'd have to rebuild their attic and put a new insulation? But here we go. It's incredible how our loved ones take care of us. So I just wanted to share that story.
Oh, that's great. Love that. So yeah, they step in. I really think that Alan's saying that people, don't get him wrong, but he says people give way too much credit to the angels when they're really human angels that on the other side who are helping us as much. It's almost saying like 50-50, saying it's not all the angels, okay? Because that's just his perspective, that the other side, they actually do have abilities. And that, Smita, right? That they can make things happen. And that people oftentimes will leave this world for specifically to help their loved ones from the other side, because they know something's coming in the future. And I don't mean they know it consciously. I mean, as a soul, they know that like a lot, like he's like, you had, I think it was your uncle, right? Who you said maybe he had to cross in order to help his family through COVID.
Yes.
And Alan recently told me that one reason he also said, okay, I'm going to go now, was actually because of COVID. Because he said, well, I got to go anyway. And I know I got to work on the other side. I have this mission with Pam. And COVID is here, and I want to protect her. Because when he came back, he said, you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
I'm never going to let you get sick. And then he did protect me when I had to take prednisone, which most of you guys know that's pretty hardcore drug. And he said, you take it, it's going to be good for you. I'm going to make it good for you. You're going to feel great. You're not going to have any side effect. You're going to feel fabulous. You're going to get well quick. I said, okay, I believe you. I took it, felt wonderful. And actually I had to take it again, like several months later, no problem. He said, I can make it life enhancing and take out what doesn't serve you. He says, because he's kind of an alchemist. So
yeah, and my uncle, he stopped by before leaving. He stopped by And I got confirmation from my father. I knew that the phone call was about to come from India, you know, that he's crossed over,
Yeah.
because he came and told me that he was ready to go.
Yeah.
So, you know, our loved ones are always. My grandmother came back 20 years after her passing to give me her blanket and some jewelry that she wanted me to have. That I received those gifts so long after she was gone. You know, I thought somebody else in the family must have taken them, but apparently not. Nobody wanted them because they were meant to come to me.
Into you. Yeah, it's quite amazing.
A
So thanks,
message from my
thanks,
wife
Lisa.
about my behavior, because it's not just I love you. I have 3 rings, one made by a son family, one from a woman patient of mine, which is, I call it friendship, and my wedding ring. And after my wife died, quite a few women started connecting with me, and I could tell, you know, they were interested in me now that I don't have a wife anymore. And the friendship ring disappeared from the drawer. I put them all in there at night. I don't sleep with my rings on. The next morning, the friendship ring was gone. And I knew my wife was saying, cut out all this stuff and don't answer all these women, you know. For a couple of months, I could not find the ring anywhere. And then one day, somebody was vacuuming the house to clean it up. And she yelled, "Oh, Bernie, here's the ring. It's on the floor in the bedroom." It was right out, you know, in plain view. And I knew my wife was putting it back, saying, "Okay, I know I can trust you. You're okay. Here's your ring back." I mean, it was incredible. So that's why it's hard for me to not unmute. But all these things happen, you know, that you can't explain. But I knew what she was saying about other women.
That's so interesting, because I know some of them on the other side, they actually are matchmakers for their partners, that they want them to get married again, and will kind of finagle things to get them to meet somebody. I remember doing a reading for somebody, and I don't do mediumship. I really don't. Alan's got me doing it now, and I tell people I'm not technically a medium. Just, you know, cut me some slack here, but I'll do anything to help people. But I did this one reading, and spirit will come through if it's really necessary. So this woman, her husband had died, and she had gone to a psychic who had told her, as soon as she walked in the door for the reading, had told her, "You killed your husband." And this woman was like shocked, and she goes, "What?" And she said, you killed your husband. You took him off of life support, and of course, technically, he did die." And she accused her of killing him. So of course, this woman was devastated, because, you know, she loved her husband, and to be told by a psychic that she had killed him and to be judged that way. Well, the woman went into deep depression, and a year later, I think, she came to me, a friend brought her to me, and the husband was so upset. He needed her to know that she hadn't killed him. And it was so, I could feel he was so agitated about it that he could make himself known to me, because even though I'm not a medium. And he showed me things. And one thing he showed me was a Confederate Army flag. He just waved it in front of my field of vision. And I said, "Okay, why am I seeing a Confederate Army flag?" And she said, "Oh, because he collected Confederate Army memorabilia." Okay. And then he showed me the color red. And I said, "Why is he showing me red?" And she really laughed. She said, "Oh, that was his favorite color. And he knew that I hated red. I hated red." And then she could feel him. And so he came through and he said, "Look, you didn't kill me. It was my time. I love you. I want you to let go of the guilt. And by the way, if you want to, there is someone coming into your life, and you could get married again. And if that's what you want, you have my blessing. I want you to be happy. And I just want you to know that." So, and I believe I told her in about a year that you're going to meet this person. So she left like completely changed. Definitely her whole energy changed. Her friend was really happy. And I thought that was really sweet. He really loved her, and he wanted her to have another relationship if that was her choice. So I know that there's both sides of that, where that sometimes they want us to wait but Alan has said to me that he would be heartbroken if I met someone else. But if that would make me happy, then he would support it. Like he would want to make sure that the man was completely right for me, but he would support it because all he wants, he says, I want you to be happy. If that's what really going to make you happy, then I want that for you. But I would be heartbroken. And by the way, even if you got married to somebody else, we're going to meet on the other side because we're not done. And we're going to be together again, one way or the other. And I wasn't sure about that, but I heard other psychics, mediums say that in the case where someone is married to more than one person, that the person that they connect with when they cross over is the one that they're not finished with. Like their journey, their story is not done, whoever that person is. So that made sense to me. Like, okay, it would be you because we didn't really get to complete our relationship when you were here, Alan. And you know that, and I know that. So it would be you. But he said that's really up to me. But I know his preference because he said to me, I don't like it. You're going to meet a lot of men. I can see the future, and you're going to meet a lot of men, and you already are. And I'm not happy about that. But like, I can't compete. I don't have a body. But that's why I'm going to love you like you've never been loved before. And I said, yes, well, I wouldn't want a guy in a body because guess what? A man in a body has issues. I don't need any more issues. I just want love without any issues. I don't need to deal with, healing somebody's fears and their insecurities. I've been there, done that. Now I'm good. Like I'm good. So he's happy. So yeah, more questions? Is there any more questions? I think somebody...
Susan Meyer has a question. Can you speak on angels who appear in our lives as our pets? I feel guardian angels are sent from the Creator as pets. They are consciousness and purely loving. She would like to ask you that question.
What do you feel about that, Shaun?
Yeah, they're here to be our companions. I had a potbelly pig on the Big Island. Her name's Petunia. And that's what she was here for. And she still comes to me in my dreams. And I never tried to communicate with animals, but I have somebody in my family who really wanted to. And they sent me all these books, and I never really read them, but the same person, all of a sudden I started communicating with her cat, the one who had sent me the books.
See?
So like in her case, she was going to get rid of this cat. And it was kind of a family ordeal. It was kind of, can have drama even in the midst of kind of cool spiritual stuff. But literally, the cat was literally here for her, and because she has a lot of issues, and he was literally here to be of service for her. That was his function. So yeah, our animals are here, and we can communicate with them as well. There's, I'm sure you've seen, there's some different shows where people do that, but they're not necessarily, I don't know if you'd say angels, but I don't really even bother quantifying that. But they are here. Everybody plays a role, and that's the role that they're playing.
Well,
yeah, I was just going to say that if there's time, one of my pets had I was told a healing master, Hilarion, came through with my pet. And he was just, even though we have a family, my husband was a little jealous that this dog would just be with me in the most loving way. But he could also heal. He got Lyme's disease, and he healed himself. I mean, he was tested, he had Lyme's disease, and he was terribly sick, but he healed within 48 hours. He was fine and bouncing around again. And he had a couple of different things that he healed. I guess I understand it now, but I didn't understand it then, that he was showing me that he could heal. And I think the implication was, so can I, because I've been dealing with allergies and asthma, and it relates to heart chakra issues. And I'm just trying to get it, I'm still trying to get the lessons that he was teaching me. And he was a very conscious being, and he had 4 paws, hair. He was a very big Yorkie. Beautiful dog.
I know animals do heal us. I see them taking on pain, taking on, energies that aren't serving us. And I think that they're definitely all healers. But my understanding is, go ahead.
Oh, there's some really good books on that too, because
Right.
when I had my first dog that died, I was actually really distraught because I didn't feel him or anything. It took but this dog, it caused me a dark night of the soul, which is probably why I didn't hear him. But at some point he did, all of a sudden he just licked the back of my ear like he would do in bed. And so he finally gave me a message. It just took a long time. But there's some amazing books that you can get, literally of all the stories of dogs or animals that come back.
Yeah. It's incredible.
And there's another one in the chat here. It's from Deborah Butler, and I'll ask her to unmute. And can you unmute? Yeah, you're unmuted. Go ahead, Deborah.
My question is, and I'm pretty sure I already know the answer, but do our loved ones, my Leon, my boyfriend that I just lost, I feel like he's here with me a lot. I don't always feel him, but I do talk to him every day. Can he go places even though I'm not, say, he always wanted to go out of state and stuff like that? Can he still go out of state, or do I have to travel for him to be able to go places?
No, you don't have to travel.
He can go wherever he wants.
Yeah, he's multidimensional, as are all of us, which means that you have many, many selves that are doing, like Alan can be with literally millions of people who call on him. He wants the book out, so he actually wants millions of people to call on him. He literally does want millions of people calling him for free. Like, he doesn't want to take a penny.
I'm so glad to hear that.
But so can your Leon. Okay, so can we, but we're just not cognizant of it, and we couldn't, because then we go crazy. If I could tap into all those other me's that are doing, I would be a basket case. But they, on the other side, they can be anywhere. That he can stay with you 100% of the time, never leave your side. Okay, and still go and do. So you're not holding him back. You don't have to think like, well, if he wants to go on a cruise, I better go on the cruise because he can't go on the cruise. Like,
so I have an example real quick. I was going to say on the phone with my mom. I was with my mom and I was on the phone with my sister, but they are actually working on a soul phone. So anyone can do it.
Right.
You can literally Google it. It's called the soul phone. Anyway, so I was on a call with my sister in South Carolina, and my mom, whenever I'm talking to my sisters and stuff, she always has a lot to try to say. And so as I was talking to my sister, and my sister made a comment like, oh, I can't hear her, or she never talks to me, or some stupid, which is, when we say those kind of words, we are creating. So when we say I can't, or they never speak to me, or they never, we're actually creating that. So, but the point is, so as I'm sitting there talking to my sister, she's out working in her yard, and I didn't know she had zinnias. But anyway, so I'm sitting there and my mom's there trying to talk, and I was telling my sister things she could do. And at some point my mom's like, yeah, and tell her to deadhead the zinnias. I had no idea that's what she was working by where the zinnias are, and they did need to be deadheaded. So that's an example of, she's here and she's there at the same time.
both places. Yeah, right. Could be everywhere. Well, so can we, Ellen say. Like, we just don't realize it, so we don't allow ourselves to, and it would be too confusing. You got to be here.
There's a comment in the chat. It says, my 12-year-old son speaks to her dad all the time. It's by Vivian Torres. I don't know if Vivian would like to speak.
Hi, Vivian.
Hi, I'm right here.
Okay.
Hi.
Yes, that story that you were talking about to Pam in your group, that was me and my husband.
Yes, that's you. So how's it going now?
I'm feeling him more often than before.
And just
Like,
know that it's gonna increase. It takes time. This is not
Yeah.
like this is, I don't want to say marathon but it's not a sprint, you know, it's like a incremental bit by bit, step by step.
Yeah,
And
I'm
so
feeling him in
just
the
go with it.
car. Like if I'm traveling, if I'm in the car going somewhere, I could feel it. Like I could feel like if he more like when somebody's caressing you, like
Yes.
in the arms or in the head, something like that.
Your husband's really good at that. Like he should teach classes. Alan says, okay, I'm gonna get him to teach with me in the class. He'll teach that segment.
He was
really
he was very romantic when he was alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my
he's
daughter,
still
I'm
romantic.
noticing. Huh?
He's still romantic. He's even more
Yes.
romantic now.
She Roy, my daughter one night just came out of nowhere and started telling me, Dad is saying this, this, and this, and that. I'm like, wait, you could talk to your dad? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, since when? And she was like, well, it's been a couple of days now, but I kind of been ignoring him because I thought I was going crazy. And I was like, okay, so I started giving her messages and she will reply exactly like her dad. Like she will answer the questions exactly like her dad would answer if he was alive.
Well, you get the idea that your husband's really present in your house. So of
Mhm.
course your daughter's gonna like, because his energy is that's everywhere, because you've invited him in. Because instead of saying, oh, I'm crazy, or this is nuts, or you know, what is this? You're like, okay, like bring it on. All
Yes.
right, I want to feel you. And you're going with it, right? So he can come in because we're co-creating, Alan's saying, we're co-creating this. We all create our reality, but now this is a co-creation because they're over there, we're over here, and we have to get into it. You can't just sit there and go, well, I hope he shows up, or I hope he does something. You have to get yourself in it. And then you're off. Alan's saying you're off to the races. Like, and it's just gonna get better and better. So just know that he's here. Just talk to him. So how does she feel? Like, is she okay with this?
She's okay with it. It doesn't bother her.
Good. She takes it matter of factly, like, oh yeah, I talked to
She
him.
takes it like it's normal. Like she's okay with having her dad around.
Great.
It doesn't bother her. And I'm noticing my older son also talks to him.
All right.
But not a, remember I told you they were thinking at first that I was crazy.
Right.
But my oldest son is talking to him. The one that is having the hardest time now is my middle son, that when the love came about and I told them, come, hurry, you need to listen to this. Because my son has issues with loving himself. And he said, but Dad doesn't talk to me. I don't hear him talking to me. I was like, well, you need to hear what they just said in order for you to understand. He goes, oh, that's going to take forever.
Oh, well, there you go. He's creating it. See, but it's because he doesn't love himself. He's having a hard time to hear him. But Alan's saying to me that your husband is really determined. So he's going to break down those walls.
Yes.
Like our son, when Alan passed, our son wasn't crying. Like he didn't really cry. And Alan said to me, I can't reach Taylor because he won't cry. And I said, well, I can't make him cry. I tell them, like, you need to let your emotions out, you need to cry. And Taylor's saying, no, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm fine. Finally, Alan showed up in a dream to Taylor, and except that he was appearing young. And Taylor didn't recognize him at first because he doesn't recognize his dad looking like 50 because Taylor was born, Alan was 50, and he doesn't remember Alan looking like that. But then he realized, oh, it's dad. And as soon as he saw his dad, Alan said, Taylor, you have to cry. And then Taylor just like cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. And that's how he got him to cry in a dream. And then Taylor woke up and he had cried and he was better. And he knows his dad's there and he can feel him calming him down. I had a student today in the class we taught who said that her, I think a 14-year-old son who's had issues that some middle school age boys can have, and behavioral issues, and he'd gone to one of those camps where they have them hike and do they're all out in adventure, having adventures, and don't have their phone with them, and she was really, really worried about her son and was upset, and I'll call on Alan, please help him, take care of him and help calm me down. And every time she'd do that, she could feel herself calming down. She could feel him just like helping her just relax. And her son was doing great, and her son seems to be fine. So she was saying that she calls on him like all the time, like if she needs support. And so Alan's saying with your son that, yeah, your husband's he's going to get through because your husband's really getting stronger with you. It's just a matter of time. So
we had somebody that was here a little earlier. She left, unfortunately, but her son died not too long ago from cancer, maybe about 4 or 5 months ago.
Oh.
And she came all the way across the country to Hawaii to get away from all of that. And she showed up at one of our meetings, and literally she'd never had any spiritual experience or anything. And she said, I just think he's trying to get a hold of me. And so what's great is now she's accepted that.
With him, he has a lot of dreams. When he actually was the first one who dreamed with his dad, the one that is not to him. He like vivid dreams with his dad, very vivid dreams, and it's continuous. It's very continuous vivid dreams that he has with his dad.
Well, your husband's getting through that way, like through the dream state. Alan's just telling me it's all going to happen in time, so don't even worry about your middle son.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share? Bernie's
got a hand up.
Yes, I think it's been up the whole time. Bernie, do you have something to share?
Yes, because I felt like it was the way my wife connected with me. The words bittersweet came up early in the show. I don't remember who said them or why, but we used to do a lot of bike riding, and there's a plant called bittersweet. And my wife was always going by it and liked it and would point out bittersweet. And I ended up writing a poem called Bittersweet, that life is pretty bitter, but because of my wife, she sweetened it all. And I think that's the message everybody needs to go home with, that life is bittersweet. But if you have the relationship, the love, it can help take the edge off the bitter and make it a lot sweeter.
Well, I think it's the bitterness that actually helps us enjoy the sweetness, because in the other realm, when it's all is. So they don't have these experiences like we do. They don't have the bitterness. They just have pure love. So that's a reason we all want to be here, is to experience all these different things. And so you don't experience bitterness there. You experience it here. And if we don't experience bitterness, then we don't know the sweetness. And so that's part of what I think we're here to learn.
Yeah, so true.
It's my bedtime. I just want to say bye.
Okay, bye, Bernie.
Bye.
I know we're hitting on 2 hours
All right.
now, but then we're in Hawaii.
I know. Okay.
Soon you'll be here too. You just got to win that lottery, Bernie.
All right. Well, I play it every night.
Okay, well, as
think-
soon as you win, we charter the
Great.
plane.
I just want to say something. I know I saw something in the chat where I can't find it now, but somebody asked something about, is there something that triggers Alan to come in? And no, there's nothing. It's just saying his name or thinking his name.
Yeah, just thinking about it.
Yeah, just saying Alan. Boom. Like that psychic said, Pam and Alan Johnson. Boom. You know,
You don't even
he's
have
right
to say
there.
his name. You just think about it.
Just
right?
say Alan. And if you are join our Facebook group, which if you're not in it, we welcome you to join it. It's called Supernatural Love and Life After Death. In our group, Alan knows everybody's in the group. Whether you ever post or not, doesn't matter. If you're in the group, you're on his radar. And I have had people in the group send him to people that didn't know about the group and got helped. And so and people are always asking me, well, how does he know where to find them? I go, we're not talking about physical space, okay? Like he just knows, like he's saying, follow the breadcrumb. Like that's your friend, your loved one. I just follow like where that person is and go right to them. So you're on his radar, or later, if you read the book, if you read your book later, he'll just know, oh, okay, I have to tell you this. So he says he wants the book out there because he's going to come along with the book. I need to have a disclaimer. If you call on this guy, don't be surprised if he shows up and might even move in, because if you have a good sense of humor, like say like Shaun has and some of our other friends, he could just like be, living in your house and adopting your family and taking a liking to helping you on a regular basis. That has happened for people. I know Maria I think she's still on the call, but Maria's had so many experience with Alan because she's kind of like a family, or he's adopted her family. And he tells her that her daughter is his favorite child. like he's his favorite. And so, yeah, you just have to call on him. And if you really don't want him hanging out with you, and he's saying to me, well, who wouldn't want to hang out with me? But if you really don't, all you have to do is say, could you please leave? Because all angels have to take our direction. If you tell them get out of the room or get out of my life, say okay, because that's the rule, that's spiritual law. But if you don't, then yeah, he'll hang out, he'll keep you company, he'll help you, but no, he doesn't have to live with you. You can just call on him when you want to. And he says with the book, yeah, he's going to make his presence more known because of the book, and that's where I'm going to get all these people like writing to me. And I said, I really think I need that disclaimer. Please don't blame me. Blame the guy on the other side, because I can't control him. And it's all good, but don't come to me. Take it up with him. As he likes to say, the support desk that he runs 24/7, 365 days a year, that's he's doing it. So you just go to him. And he always tells our students, come to me with your problems, leave Pam alone. She's in a body, she only has so much time and energy. I don't want her to get burnt out. So, oh, there's Maria. We want Maria on, he's saying. He wants to talk to Maria. Because she probably has some of the best stories of Alan and how he shows up to help and how he makes his presence known. And when I talk to her, because we're good friends, he's always in on our call, as Maria knows, and he's always kibitzing on the side. And sometimes he'll try to say something, and it's so funny. I can't even get the words out because it's so crazy. I'm just like, wait. I'm trying to get the words out, and he's just making me laugh and laugh and laugh, because he just gets so excited. He wants to come through, and he likes to play, so he likes to have fun. And so, Maria, do you want to share?
Yes. Yeah, no, I think one of the most incredible things was when my child, Danny, actually wanted help for their friend. They have a friend that has a lot of emotional issues, depression, bipolar. I mean, you name it, she probably has it. And she was going through a really tough time. And Danny was actually on a call with me and Pam, and they mentioned their friend, and Alan was like, okay, I'm on it. And
Danny actually asked Alan to help, right? I remember on the
yes,
call. And if I
yes,
remember,
yes,
the friend actually was, you said, was suicidal and
yes,
had tried to
yes,
kill herself several times, but failed.
yes, yeah. So so they, that afternoon, Danny heard from their friend, and their friend said, oh yeah, he came by. He was sitting in my kitchen with my cat in his lap. And proceeded to talk to Danny's friend. Danny's friend's name is Mac. Proceeded to talk to Mac and tell Mac, you know, basically, as Danny put it, called her on her bullshit.
But when you said that, I was like, oh no, like this person's got emotional issues. I was all horrified. And then you said that no, she liked it. Like she probably one of those young people who says, no, give it to me straight. Right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
don't sugarcoat it.
Exactly. And so he's apparently been hanging out with her at her house, and they talk about all things like juice and how soft carpets are, and he sits on her TV, and you know, I get the messages like, oh, Alan is vibing on my TV.
Vibing, like what is that? He's using like teenage lingo, like I'm vibing. So in other words, he just adapts to the person and says, this is what they need, and this is the lingo, and I'm going to relate to them on their level, which that makes sense.
Yeah, it's amazing. But you know, with me, he teases me mercilessly. I mean, oh my gosh, my house is constant chaos because of Alan. I mean, from things disappearing to doors opening for no reason and the dogs going out. And
yeah, but what about the UFO that showed up in your garage?
Oh yeah, my little Alan UFO. So my puppy, Allie, we thought he ate I think it was no, it wasn't. It was sertraline. It was sertraline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we thought he ate that. No, not even that. It was heart medicine. You're right. It was the heart medicine.
See, I know. I wasn't even there, but I heard it.
I know, but I live with Allie. He's into everything.
That's right. It's Alan's fault. We blame Alan. We blame Alan for everything.
So yeah, you were right. Heart medicine. He got into that, and we couldn't tell. He literally got a hold of the plastic bottle and chewed through it. And we couldn't tell if he had actually eaten the medicine or not, because it's my husband's medication. And James couldn't remember how many there were in there to start off with. And, you know, what could have gone or not gone, or anyway. To be safe, we took him to the emergency room, the pet emergency room.
Right.
And the vet there said, well, since you don't know, I think it's better if we keep him here overnight and be able to watch him. I think he had to stay for 24 hours or 12 hours or something like that.
I think you said 12 hours.
Yeah, 12 hours.
Remember, I'm really listening. You're not.
Like I said, I live with the dog.
Yeah, the dog drives you crazy. And Alan.
Yeah. But having to leave Allie there was one of the worst experiences ever for me. It killed me. I left. I was a mess. I couldn't stop crying. I knew Alan was around, but I could actually feel him wrap his angel wings around me, and I felt comforted, but I was a mess. I did not like leaving my puppy at the vet. So when I got in bed, I started getting notifications on my phone that my camera in my garage, there was motion in the garage. So I went to look, and there was this like oval
like this.
little,
it looks like this, guys.
Yes, it looked exactly
this.
like that. Yeah,
like this.
exactly like that.
Yeah,
and it
UFO.
hovered in the same spot, and it wouldn't go away. It just stayed there hovering, and it was bright white. It wasn't translucent. It was bright, opaque, solid white. and it wouldn't go away. And then and it was like all night, the notifications kept coming and kept coming and kept coming. And I usually silence my phone at night, and I didn't silence it because if the vet got in touch with me, I wanted to be able to talk to the vet. So it's like, it kept us up all night long. I finally, around 3 or so in the morning, 4 in the morning, I went and I changed the setting on the phone to detect only people, thinking, okay, well, now it's not going to detect an orb. And yeah.
It still detected Alan.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, that video is in our group. Because we posted the video of Alan. The group,
and of
the
course,
group has chronicled everything pretty much that he's done. I mean, it's in that group.
And of course, when Sally was home, the orb went away. So
yeah,
no more orb.
Of course, he went away, and you could feel him comforting you, and he was just trying to say, "I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here," like I'm here.
Yeah,
and letting you know. So
and he was with Allie as well. But
yeah, he was with Allie, explaining to Allie what was happening. Of course, Allie still didn't like it, but Allie would know that it's okay, you're safe. But yeah, Allie still didn't like being there. And Alan can talk to animals, and he's saying all of them can talk to animals on the other side, just like humans can actually talk to animals too. We're just not doing it. So it's nothing for them to talk to animals and have them, comfort them or tell them to go do something to get the birds to fly in and all that. Oh, thanks, Maria. Was there anything else? I think that's like the highlights.
Yeah, those are the highlights. There are 1,000 stories, but yeah,
but he helps you with your Photoshop projects. You create with him. You helped Alan write his wedding vows for me because we got married a second time, and wrote beautiful vows that are going to probably open our book with, because we love what he wrote, and he's so proud. Like, oh, my vows get to open the book. Great. Like but so that was really beautiful, and so he's kind of there with you, collaborating with you. Oh, and he's saying that that's what the other side can do too. They want to collaborate with us, whether it's an angel or your loved one on the other side, that we're meant to collaborate with the other side, and can do that. So, and you're doing that with him, as other people are too. I know.
He even said today that he was gonna be photographing with me while I was on vacation in Hawaii, and we were gonna take gorgeous pictures together.
We are gonna we are gonna take gorgeous pictures. And I was talking to you, and he told you which lens to take, right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, that lens, not that one. No. Yes. So he's saying, and this too can be your reality, people, if you want that, or not. But thanks so much. We love you, and Alan's always with you, and it's so. I am so grateful for all the people in my group who continue to give me confirmation of Alan's existence. That's why he set up that group for me. He told me, create the group, Pam. I had no idea. He asked me to create the group 7 days after he passed. I was sharing my story before then in my profile, my personal group, personal page rather. And people were fascinated by what I was sharing about Alan and our life together, because a lot of them were our clients or friends. And then when he showed up and I started writing about that on my page, then people were like, what? Like they wanted to see where this was going. So Alan said, open a Facebook group. And mind you, Alan didn't like Facebook. He couldn't even find anything on Facebook when he was here. He would go, oh, this drives me crazy. I think I'm going to forget Facebook. But he wanted me to form a group. And I said, why? It was because I want you to share what's happening to you in that group. He could have had me create a blog, but he said, I want people to give feedback, and I want to create a community. I want them to make friends with each other if possible. And I want you to share there. So I said, okay, I'll create the group, and who's going to join? He says, just let your friends know. So I believe as soon as I opened the group, about 135 people jumped into that group. They began to bring their friends into the group, and it just started growing just by word of mouth, nothing else. You know, people bringing their friends, and now Shaun's bringing everybody into the group. So, and I've noticed that people are finding our group, which they weren't before.
Speaking of that, since people are starting to leave, or they've been,
Yes.
I just want to
Go
make
ahead.
sure if everybody here, if you're not in Pam's group already, did you see where I posted it, or should I post it again? Did everyone get to see it? I just want to make sure that people know before they leave that here is the her group. And also on Tuesday night, Hawaiian IANDS has a sharing group that you're all welcome to come to. If you didn't, share your story, it would be great for you to come and do it on Tuesday. And I posted that out, but I'll post that link again, just so that everyone can feel that if they didn't get
What time is that, Shaun?
It is 6 p.m. Hawaii time, 9 p.m. Pacific time, and it's midnight East Coast time. So also you can join the group if you like, just go to the Hawaiian IANDS Facebook group. But yeah, so anybody who'd like to share their story or continue with other things, or if you forgot something you didn't share.
And also, if people still have questions for me and Alan, you're welcome to join our group. And I can't promise we'll answer everybody's question. We'll do what we can, but you can certainly post a question. Not so much get a reading, of course, but post a question. And we do, like I said, we do teach or go live or do a Zoom or Facebook Live like every week, or try to. Pretty much we always do that.
Yeah, she answers questions every week, right? Almost.
Yeah, and sometimes our lives are just like Q&A, like people ask questions, or we do messages from heaven where we do mediumship mini readings for randomly selected people. But always some people learn from the other person's stories anyway. And yeah, he said that the group that we have is where we're going to be of service at no charge. For as long as I'm here in a body, as long as Facebook exists or we have some sort of platform. And doesn't mean we don't have other things that are for free, that are paid. We do, but that's where we do our outreach. That's where we're going to help people. And he was very insistent on that. And I said, of course, I've always done that. So
if you live in Honolulu or Oahu, Pam has individual classes in person.
Yeah, my next class at Kyoki's House of Intention on 12th Avenue in Kaneki is on the 29th of July. And I think I have just 2 spots left in that class. And really in that class, I'm just really talking about Alan's return to me and opening up to questions. And it's more about that. We'll have other things too, but right now we're just starting to teach in person again. I used to teach in person all the time. I was teaching Reiki. I would do an intensive Reiki level 1, 2, 3 master, like in one weekend. And I've trained about 104 Reiki masters, all in.
Hey, also, before I forget, tonight, whoever's interested, so here in Oahu, in Hawaii, we have all kinds of great ghost stories. And we have a local guy here that broadcasts every night. So if anyone's up, do you remember what time it is, Pam? Like 6,
No,
6
I don't
or
remember
7.
because
I'm gonna live stream it if I remember. I'll put a note down. Like about 6 or 7 in the Hawaiian IANDS group.
Yeah, it is a little later, right? Like
yeah, and we can even put it. We can put a live stream in yours if you want.
That was really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because he literally goes. This guy knows all kinds. They call it, for those that are not from Hawaii, they call it Tuck Story, but it's really great, and he knows just so much about the different places here and why they have more energy, and so yeah, that's probably about 6 or 7 Hawaii time. So if you look on the Hawaiian IANDS page, and then Pam's, if she wants it in her group or whatever. Well, actually, it's a private group, so we could put it on the public page if you want.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's fun. It's just worth watching.
Yeah,
I think it's cool.
Interesting.
it helped me understand like why my mom appeared where she
Yeah,
did.
where she appeared.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there's just different places here that are more
Different vortexes. Well, I
Yeah.
told you, Alan heard a voice say welcome home when he went to Waimea Falls Park for the first time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
I know you
yeah.
said that the islands say well, hello to you all the time, but that was the first time for him. And
That would make
he
sense there,
realized
'cause-
that this was his home. He was meant to come here. That was his first trip to Hawaii. And he said, somebody said, welcome home. And I said, well, this is your home. Clearly.
Well,
not
yeah, that
England.
makes sense. That definitely there's a lot of power there in that area.
Well, weren't the Kahunas living there? That
Yeah.
valley, that whole valley.
Well, and
So-
also above it is an ancient temple site where they actually had sacrifices in Pupukea. Yeah,
Those kind of sites give me the creeps, actually. I went to one on the Big Island and I freaked out. I could feel like the dead people. Like, I said, get me out of here. And where it was at this remote place on the Big Island. I don't remember what it was. And nobody was there. And the weather was kind of gloomy. And I was with a friend and I said, get me the hell out of here. I felt like something was going.
Was it south or north?
No, it was north.
The big
I
one
think.
north
I
of
think it was
Kahala.
north. I can't remember
The
what it
big
was.
huge one. Was it all deserty? Like
Yeah, I think so.
So that one is the one where King Kamehameha, when he united the islands.
Yeah, it has to do with
Yeah,
Kamehameha.
he had battled the people from Hilo, and they come up over the volcano, and the volcano erupted, and so they a lot of them didn't make it, and you can still see their footsteps in the silts because it like fried them. So, but the ones that did make it, then they came over and he beat them in battle. And what they didn't realize is that they were going to be the desserts. And so, because in Hawaii, the kahunas, they would to get the mana. So that's why, there was a whole lot of buffets going on there.
We dug out of that place fast. I was driving a friend's car and I said, I out of here. And we had to go drive all the way to the volcano from there. In a long drive. So get me out of here.
I would think you'd have to like all these areas, because there's so many areas there. There's like, you would have had to move around several times to find a peaceful spot.
Well, Big Island was where we stayed at a vacation rental and there was a ghost in it. And we had a visitation, heard these steps like clump up the stairs, and Alan had found a baseball bat and he was coming out with a baseball bat, but there was nobody there. But we had weird things happen and it didn't scare me for some reason. He's saying that I have so much protection. I don't know why, but nothing can get to me. Nothing has gotten to me. I've been with people that were, I don't know, like possessed, you might say, whatever.
Well, yeah, there's nothing that can happen. Yeah,
right,
you've got your own samurai.
I've got.
Oh, Pam, it's because you work with the archangel. That's why.
Right.
And because you're the archangel's twin soul, that's why.
Well, and also it's just a story. All those people, they just need love, really. You know, that all of those spirits, because I've lived with the night marchers over there down in
I really do believe that anybody who's kind of hanging out like that, they just lack love in their life. They just need more love.
Yeah, Lono left, but he's a kahuna, a Hawaiian kahuna, and he does exorcisms. And so he'll just go and the spirit will be all angry. He was telling me one about a spirit that threw a baby against a wall, a live baby. And he went and talked to it. He said, now, is that really going to solve anything? Like literally, as like he's talking to a 5-year-old who just thrown a baby against the wall. And literally he talked the baby into going home. And that's all they are. So the more we're afraid of them, the more we make them stronger. But when we give them love, you know.
It's same whether they're not in a body or in a body. Anybody misbehaving is in need of love.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Same thing. So I think we've gone like long enough, like 2.5 hours.
We do have a question here from Michelle. It says Mysteries of Hawaii ?
Oh, was that
Yes,
the
that's
show?
what it's. Yes,
Mysteries
that's
of
that. I think it's Mysteries of Honolulu, but I think that is what it is, or
Well,
it might be Mysteries
just
of.
go on your
Yeah.
page.
So go to the Hawaiian
Hawaiian
IANDS
IANDS.
group. You need to ask me to join, but it's a public group. So, and then it'll be either Mysteries of Honolulu or Mysteries of Hawaii. And the guy is really cool. I can't think of his name. He's a friend of mine, and I just can't think of his name off the top
No,
of my
she
head.
has her video off. Do you want to ask your question, Michelle?
Do I want to ask who?
I thought she had a question. Apparently not.
I will look up the name. I can look up the name right now and just scroll down and find. Mysteries of Honolulu.
Mysteries of Honolulu.
That's what it's called. And it will be tonight at 7.
It is the 7 Hawaii time. But then you post the replay, right?
Well, actually, I just post the video, and then so yeah, then you click on the video and watch it whenever you can watch it at any time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So does that mean you have other videos on there on Hawaiian IANDS from this guy?
No, this is the first one that I posted, and last week somebody kept me on the phone, so I forgot.
I thought, who was that? Somebody kept you on the. I think it's the other way around. Let's get this straight.
Well, I think me and Maria could compare notes about this because it wasn't.
Oh
me
no, you outbeat Maria by a mile.
Yeah, but I stayed off the phone this morning when you went to your class. Remember?
Yeah, only because I said I'm
don't
talking
call
to Maria.
me. And so I didn't call you. And then what do? Call Maria?
Well, yeah, because she wanted to talk. No.
But then you said you were late for your class or something. No.
Well, yeah, and Alan made sure I wasn't late for class because he made the phone hang up. And I said, "Oh, okay, I guess I'm supposed to go." Yes, Pam. I wasn't late by a mile. I wasn't late at all. I was early, but he knows I want to be early.
And Alan does do that when me and Pamela are talking, and he's like, "Okay, 8 hours is too much."
What he's doing now we're getting really with the what's he saying? You're doing the revealing more. He's saying now he's getting involved when you and I talk because he goes, okay, stay focused, get to the point.
Yes, that's what we need.
Like let's not go off on tangents. He goes, Pam has to sleep. She has work to do. You got work to do. Okay, what's the focus? he's coming in like a referee. Like, all right, that's enough messing around, guys. Just get to the point. Because he was kind of an efficiency expert when he was here for companies. He'd come into the business and show them where they were losing money, where they were wasting time and energy and stuff. And he'd straighten them out. So he goes, yeah, I'm doing that to you guys. So, okay. So I guess we're going to wrap it up. And again, if you guys want to join my group, we can talk there. And I want to thank Shaun and Jack and Susan and all of you for being here. But Jack, thanks for moderating. But is there anything you want to say, Shaun?
Well, I just want to acknowledge a living angel that's here, being silent, Mr. Allen.
No.
Not another Allen. Allen, you can say hello if you want. I see you. Do you know how to unmute? He's under burn lens. Anyway, Allen really is a living angel.
Oh.
He really is. If people, yeah, there he is.
Hi.
Well, thank you very much. I think I was focusing on the other angel, Alan.
Well, my Alan says, glad to meet you.
It's nice to share a name with people. In the Celtic heritage, it means harmony.
Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Pam.
Nice to meet you.
I feel like you're on Maui, but you're here on Oahu.
Yes, I'm on Oahu. I'm on a house looking down at Shaun.
She's on St. Louis Heights looking down over me.
Yes, walking down with your mom.
Keeping me in line. Her and my mom are up there, keeping me in line.
Yeah. Alan says somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do that job. So yeah.
Great.
So thanks for being here, and thanks everybody. Thanks, Shaun. And we should do it again. Alan really likes, he likes talking with me, through me, and it really gives me a lot of joy to work with him and to share this. So
Well, he gets to come back on Tuesday to Hawaiian IANDS sharing group.
okay. Okay. He says remind he's telling you to remind me.
Oh.
That was Tuesday at 6 Hawaii.
Tuesday at
6 Hawaii time.
Remember, it's always the same. So that
Always the
all
same
of our
time.
meetings always start at 6 Hawaii time, 9 o'clock Pacific, and then of course midnight for you, because Jack lives in New Jersey. So
Jack.
he takes a little power nap and then comes and helps us.
Wow, thanks, Jack. It's still
Certainly welcome.
really appreciate it. Okay.
10:30 here now.
Well, it's not too bad, not like midnight.
No.
But thanks everyone for staying with us till the end. You guys are hardcore. And this was fun. And Alan says, yes, so let's do the Pam, Alan, and Shaun show. My husband is a nut. He is just a nut. So thanks everybody. So aloha, good night. Shaun, you want to say
Thank
goodbye?
you, everyone. Yes.
I don't know if you ever guys do this on your shows, but in my group, we always have people unmute. Everybody goes, bye, bye. Like, we love you. Like,
Oh, well, I'll do that. Yeah, go ahead.
I like to hear everybody's voice because a lot of them are quiet as we're talking, and we like to hear them.
I always forget that you don't have a lot of people from Hawaii necessarily in your group, right?
That what?
Well, like how many people, a lot of people in your group are not from Hawaii, because you know how
That's
normally
right. That's
in
right.
Hawaii we go, aloha.
Right. No, a lot of them are not from Oahu. Yeah, right. Many of them are not. They're from all over. So yeah, aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha. Everybody, we want to hear you. Let me just see who's left here.
Mahalo and aloha.
Bye, Jill, Deidre, Michelle, Vern, Ed, Jackie, Marcelita, Vivian, Dana, Jill. Hi, Jill.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Love you guys. Bye. Okay. Aloha.
Aloha.
Bye. Till next time.